This is Jian, a stand in Chicago's French Market at Ogilvy Station in the West Loop. Jian specializes in Jianbing, a Chinese street food that starts out as a type of crepe or pancake made with wheat flour and often an additional meal such as mung bean flour or millet. According to legend, Jianbing originated in the north of China almost 2,000 years ago, during the Three Kingdoms era, an innovation of the Shuhan strategist Zhuge Liang, who had his soldiers use their shields to cook pancakes when the army's cookware was misplaced. If, like me, you are an ignorant American who gained all your knowledge of the Three Kingdoms era from the Dynasty Warriors series of video games, you will know Zhuge Liang as Liu Bei's advisor who fights with a feather fan. Hey, don't knock the fan. It worked for the Kyoshi Warriors. And definitely don't knock Jianbing. It's one of the more popular street foods in China, often eaten for breakfast, but if you can find a spot near you that makes it, Jianbing makes a heck of a good lunch as well. Anyway, the crepe batter is spread over a griddle, and then has an egg cracked on top of it that also gets spread all over. For the inept home crepe maker like myself, this could be seen as yet another chance to accidentally rip your crepe. But I like to think of it instead as a kind of glue that will help hold the crepe together when I eventually flip it. Tasty glue. While the egg is still sticky and uncooked, sesame seeds and scallions or chopped cilantro will be shaken over the surface, adhering to the egg, and will not only add to the flavor of the Jianbing, but to its signature look as well. And now comes the flip. Whether the practiced turn of the seasoned Jianbing maker, or the holy crap I hope I don't break it of the enthusiastic amateur. Here, they'll brush a brown sauce onto the surface of the crepe. Different sources have variously suggested hoisin sauce, black bean sauce, or even fermented tofu. I used a combination of black bean and chili sauce, hoisin sauce, and a chili garlic paste to make a slightly sweet but pungent and spicy spread, and painted it on with a basting brush. Now, crispy crackers made from fried dough, called bao shui, are added to the crepe. A reasonable substitute for bao shui can be made using wonton wrappers. Some people will cut slits into these or just poke holes in them to give it additional texture and crispness. But I found that just lying them flat in the bottom of the fryer basket and letting them cook up nice and crisp resulted in very crunchy crackers for my homemade Jianbing. At this point, the dish is almost complete. The last filling to add for the classic Jianbing is some shredded lettuce. But variations exist, using cabbage or mustard greens instead of the lettuce, adding different meat fillings such as pork floss, bacon, hot dogs, pulled pork, chicken strips. Jianbing is a canvas, and while I've only had them from a couple of different places, I've experienced a wide variety of fillings. For my homemade version, I went with a very finely sliced Napa cabbage and some thin pan-fried slices of Spam. And finally, the wrap. Vendors in different videos I've watched have used different methods. The Jianbing I've personally experienced have all had the sides folded in to create a sort of open-ended burrito shape that was then folded in half, and sometimes sliced into smaller pieces to make it easier to handle. The Jianbing I made at home was already small enough to handle, so I simply folded it over to make, I guess you'd call it a sandwich. Or a wrap, maybe. With these complex folds, could we call it an abstract topological carb space? Perhaps an edible demonstration of the multidimensional universe. Kind of like a tastier version of Mrs. Whatsits and Mrs. Who's explanation of tesseracts from A Wrinkle in Time. Well, as for me, I just call it delicious.